these are the corrections. I do not expect you to copy down everything in class because this will be uploaded to YouTube for you to watch it yourself. Okay, then you can do your corrections. Right now, all you need to do is to just pay careful attention to some of the mistakes that were made. Now, for exercise 1E, you were told to solve this equation. X cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, that is an equation. We are supposed to find the values of x for which it is equal to 0. So our first step, we let fx be equals to x cubed plus 2x squared minus x minus 2. Okay, let me change it to a thicker pen. Okay, so now, the only way that we have learned how to solve cubic equations is to be able to factorize them first. Then we find out what are the values of x. So in order to factorize this, we need to use our factor theorem. And I've taught you how to use your calculator to choose the correct suitable number for x to substitute into fx. So we see that, oh, x minus 1 is a factor of fx because f1 is equals to 0. Okay, so many of you have this, but this is missing. So make sure you have this. Now once we have that, we can now rewrite fx in terms of its factor that we have just found out, x minus 1, with x squared plus 3x plus 2. And how do we get that? We got that from long division. Okay, this is either from long division or by observation over here. So with some more steps for the coefficient of x squared. Now, once you have this, you are able to factorize the quadratic portion again. The quadratic expression is now factorized into x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, our fx is now written as a product of three terms, three expressions over there. Back to the original question, they said that, this is supposed to be equals to 0. Okay, that's where we need to put it in over here. Now, fx, this is equal to 0. Only when this is equal to 0, then I can conclude that x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. Only when this is equal to 0. Okay, that is why I stress that we must include this. That is how we come to the final answer. Therefore, x equals to 1, -1, and -2. Okay, any questions? Oh. Next, question 4. Again, it's a solving question. Solve a cubic equation over here again. So the steps are the same again. Let fx be equal to something. Find the factor. In this case, x minus 2. Since it's a factor, this time I choose to use long division instead of observation. Long division, I come up with a quotient. X squared minus 7x minus 3. That's our quotient. I rewrite fx again. Okay, in terms of its factor and the quotient, or the divisor and the quotient. So now, since fx is equal to 0, that was given in the question, only then can I conclude that this is equal to 0. That is one possibility. The other possibility is this is equal to 0. Only because fx is equal to 0. That was stated in the question. So I want you to show this. Okay, the first portion, x minus 2 is equal to 0, is easy. We know that x will therefore be equal to 2. Now on the other side, I'll have our quadratic expression to be equal to 0. So using our quadratic formula, we do the substitution over here. X equals to minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. You do not need to write down minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Simply substitute in the values. That is good enough. Okay? Once you substitute in the values, I want you to evaluate what is inside the square root sign. So that subsequently, if you need to refer to your answers again, for other workings, you have the exact value, which is square root of 61 over here. Now imagine if you didn't have this. From here straight away you use your calculator to evaluate and your answer is 7.4051 or negative 0.4051. If this is your answer, meaning you didn't have this step, subsequently if I require you to use information from here again, will your answer be accurate? It won't be accurate. the most accurate answer will be from here. Okay, that is why I want you to show this first, then show your values before you round off to 3SF. Okay? Now this portion can only be done by the quadratic formula. There is no way you are expected to be able to factorize this. Okay? I saw some students from here, instead of writing the quadratic formula, you went straight to, from this part onwards, using your calculator. You used your calculator and then you wrote this: x minus 7.41 x plus 0.41 equals to 0. Then you finally wrote x equals to 7.41 or x equals to negative 0.41. How did you manage to get this? Did you manage to factorize it this way? Negative 7.41 and 0.41? I don't think so. It wouldn't be exact anyway. Which is why you have no choice but to use your quadratic formula over here. Okay? Nothing else will be accepted except if you use something called completing the square, which I will teach you later on. Okay, and the last question that I want to go through for this exercise is question 6. For this question, they told you that 2x squared minus 7x plus 1 is a quadratic factor of fx. Okay, so I know fx is going to be a polynomial. Okay, they said that, see how, where is it? Okay, so this is the factor that they said it must have 2x squared minus 7x plus 1. And it has the highest power of x, which is 4x to the power of 4. So they're telling us that the highest power, x to the power of 4, has a coefficient of 4. So our polynomial must look like this: 4x power 4 plus something x cubed plus something x squared plus something x plus something. Okay, so we don't know what all these are. So we leave them as unknowns. They also mentioned that 2 roots of fx. Okay, 2 roots of fx equal to 0 are negative 0.5 and 3. Are you familiar with the term roots? Yes, right? You learned it in lower sec. So roots are actually solutions. In other words, when they say 2 roots of fx equals to 0, they are trying to tell you 2 solutions of fx equals to 0. Now fx is a polynomial over here. When this is equal to 0, I have certain values of x such that fx will be equal to 0. Okay, and they are saying that these two values are negative 0.5 and 3. In other words, when x is equals to negative 0.5, when I substitute x equals to negative 0.5 into my fx, my function, it will be equal to 0. When I substitute 3 into x in my function, it will be 0. Because they say the two solutions of fx equal to 0 are negative 0.5 and 3. Okay, so that is what the question is trying to tell you. So since they say that it is supposed to be negative 0.5 and 3, they are indirectly telling you that these are the factors: x plus 0.5 and x minus 3. Okay, we've done similar questions before already. These factors, x plus 0.5 and x minus 3, if they are factors of fx, when I set it to be equal to 0, x must therefore be negative 0.5 and 3. Okay, so this is the process of working backwards. So fx must include x plus half as a factor, okay, which is x plus 0.5. It must also include x minus 3, because that is also a solution. It must also include this quadratic expression as given in the question. So these are my 3 factors I tie-dye myself, okay, for fx. Now, what happens if fx is simply equals to these 3 multiplied together? What can you tell me about the coefficient of x to the power of 4? If I simply multiply these 3 together, what is the coefficient of x to the power of 4? 2. Does that satisfy the question? What did the question want for the coefficient of x to the power of 4? They require 4, right? Okay. So, what do we have so far? This over here. Okay, so by observation, we only have 2x to the power of 4 as the term containing x to the power of 4. So that is not what the question wanted. So what can we do? What happens if I multiply the whole thing by 2? What if I do that? What is now the coefficient of x to the power of 4? It becomes 4, right? Because 2 times 2 is now 4. Does that change does that meet all the other conditions? For example, do I still have this as a factor? Yes, I do. If this is equal to 0, do I still have x equals to negative half as an answer? If this is equal to 0, over here, do I still have x equals to negative half as an answer? Yes, I do. Do I still have x equals to 3 as an answer? Yeah, I do. Do you realize that by adding this 2 over here, or multiplying it by 2, I did not make any changes to the two answers, and I also did not make any change to the quadratic factor. Okay, so everything's still the same. And now, I have my coefficient of x to the power of 4 as 4. So everything is satisfied. Okay, so now, we realize that, this must be fx. Then all you need to do is to just expand it out. How do we do this question? Am I going to write so many things? No, don't need. So this is the presentation. All you need to do, fx is equal to 4x to the power of 4 plus bx cubed plus cx squared plus dx plus e. Now fx is going to be equal to the quadratic factor that is said it must include, multiplied by x plus half, because they told you that x equals to negative half is a solution. Multiplied by x minus 3, because they said that x equals to 3 is a solution to fx equals to 0. Now when you write down this 3, you check, my x power 4 has a coefficient of 2. Insufficient. I'm not going to multiply by 2. So you add that in over here. Now this is going to satisfy all the conditions laid out in the question. This portion, expansion, sec 2 work. Can do it yourself. Okay? So this question, I expect an approach like this. Alright? Now it's not time to copy the corrections. You can do it at home. Okay, the last one I want to go through is on exercise 1G. Exercise 1G, question 7 on partial fractions. Question 7. I'm skipping 1F because generally you all did well. Okay? So question 7. You are told to factorize this completely. To factorize a cubic expression completely, you will definitely need to use, not definitely, you are recommended to use your factor theorem. Okay, told you again how you can use your calculator to help you. Choose x equals to 5, realize that hey, it's equal to 0, and I want to see this step. X minus 5 is a factor of fx, in this case px. So now, I can rewrite px in terms of its factor plus and its quotient. So quotient I left it as unknown coefficients. I didn't want to do long division this time. I wanted to use observation. Okay, a equals to 2, c equals to 15. Substitute a value of x, any value you like as long as it is not equals to 0 or 5. And we'll realize that b is 13. Okay, these steps, we've all gone through it already. So now, we can rewrite px in terms of its factor and its quotient. Now, from this step, you are told to factorize it completely. This is quadratic expression. It could be factorized. So let's check. Do your working. Okay, either this one or your multiplication frame, any way you like it, as long as you show me it is completely factorized this way. Alright? Quite a number of you skip all these steps. You skip everything, including the finding the very first factor, and you went straight into this step. So you will be missing marks. Okay? From here on, it's just the standard approach to finding your constants A, B, and C and getting their final answer. Okay? Now, are there any questions for these two before we conclude chapter 1 of A Maths? Any questions? If you have questions, you know what to do. Look for me or go and watch the video again.